It's showtime. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another conversation with Tanya and myself. Um, we've worked out our technology glitches and we're here. So, welcome. Tell a friend to come join us because today's conversation is going to be awesome.
Oh my gosh, Janice, it's so good to be back. I do apologize for yesterday, but that's how the gremlins work. We have one plan nicely laid out, ready to go, and then the gremlins creep in. So it's good to be back today.
Okay. So today, so just to back up, so on Monday we spoke about
Mhm.
business fundamentals. What are the things that we need to think about before we jump into thinking about a business? And on Tuesday we spoke about the mindset necessary for being an entrepreneur, whether intrapreneur or entrepreneur. And then yesterday we started talking about the inner and outer, but we didn't quite get to the inner. So Tanya is going to address some of those briefly at the first part of this session. And today our big thing is believing and dreaming bigger,
Yes.
way bigger than you've been dreaming. So Tanya, you want to just tell us, what are some of those inner habits? So yesterday I spoke about the outer habits,
Right.
of being an entrepreneur, and I'll just do a quick recap. Um, the the outer habits are having weekly meetings, and if you are the only person, have a weekly meeting, right? So just set up your organizational chart and ensure that every function is covered. So whether it is marketing, whether it is finance, whether it's operation, and when you're having your meeting with yourself, if you're a solopreneur, go through all of those issues in your business.
Listen, that's a three people meeting at least there. That's me,
There,
myself, and I meeting.
me, myself, and I. There you go, right? And then the next very important habit that you need to have is a weekly cash flow planner, both for your business and for yourself, right? And what was the third habit I spoke about yesterday? I don't remember. Um, Daily marketing activity. Daily marketing activity, whatever it is, whether it is just sharing something, sharing a thought, connecting with your audience in some way, shape, or form. Um, be out there or connecting in a group somewhere. You people are out there who need to hear your voice, right?
Mhm.
So those are some of the outer habits. What are some of the inner habits now, Tanya?
Yeah, so you know, for the persons who are catching us live today, this is what, day 4. Really, really want to congratulate you because this is also a big part of it. It's how do we start, but more importantly, how do we finish?
Yeah.
And just seeing, how are we even showing up for these, how we're finishing. Um, One of the quotes I love is, nothing changes until
Mhm.
you change.
Yeah.
And so no matter, how much meetings you have for, your cash flow plan or your marketing plan, if it's not working, nothing changes until you
Until you
change.
change, right?
And so I think the inner for me is about, putting a little magic to the metrics. Because at the end of the day, one of the things I've learned, or certainly discovering, is that, the energy, it's one thing to be doing what we need to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
but the bigger thing around it is the energy with which we're doing it. Who are we being while we are doing what it is that we have to do? And so one of the things I heard recently, and I'm certainly discovering, is that any strategy can work as long as you have the right energy. that right belief, who you're being, how you're showing up. And so, how do we combine now that inner and outer? And I'm going to just go quickly from what I call my lead system. Lead yourself to your greatness. So whether it's personal or business, it's really about how you're showing up, right? Who
Mhm.
you're being. We're human beings, not human doers. So we got to show up in a particular way before we can actually execute.
Right.
Um, so and we so the first thing for me is under my lead system is L. We got to learn, unlearn, relearn. So we spoke a little bit about the unlearning yesterday, not yesterday, Tuesday, in terms of mindset. But we have to get also very clear about what are some of the skill sets that we need. So sometimes we get into entrepreneurship because we're really technically good.
Mm-hmm.
But what else do we need to learn? What are the business skills? So certainly for me, we're throwing back the curtains here. I have to be hunkering down in business skills. I technically I believe I'm great at coaching. I'm great at training. My technical side, learning some business stuff. So what are the skill sets? So the success habit around that becomes every day. What are you
Mm-hmm.
learning? What are
Mm-hmm.
you reading? Have you carved out that time for study? Even if it's not, like in school or so, but you have to create that routine. So if you're learning branding or you're learning social media or whatever it is that you're learning, coaching, whatever it is, entrepreneurship, you have to create that time in the calendar,
Yep.
right? And put it in and learn that. So, we got to learn. Yesterday, Tuesday, we spoke about all the self-limiting beliefs, and so that we have to unlearn and relearn. So, I won't get into that part. And then the second thing is, we as individuals, we have to evolve and transform, meaning we really have to implement what we're learning. Our clients, our customers, they're buying from us first and foremost. And so the first people we have to sell is ourselves. And so whatever we're selling has to work with us. Yeah. So if it's transformation that you're selling, then we have to be transformed. If it's a product, if it's a hair product, then I'm gonna dare say your hair gotta look good. It's about that evolution and transformation, and so it's about implementing the material on a daily basis. And then the third step, the big part for me, is mastering our attitude. This is really the crux of the inner. This is how we now put the magic to the metrics, right? So mastering our attitude, and our attitude, as we started the discussion on Tuesday, so today we're going to, bring it home, is our thoughts, our feelings, our actions.
Mm-hmm.
How are we thinking? What are our thinking? Our thoughts and our words create our reality, create our days, So what are we thinking? I know a lot of us, we think about, we know about the law of attraction, for example. um, but we're always attracting in our lives the good, the bad, the ugly, the in between. And so if you're saying, boy, I'm into the law of attraction, but it's not working for me, there's a law that's before that I think a lot of persons miss, and it's the law of vibration. Because however you're showing up, that's what
Mm-hmm.
you're attracting. So
Mm-hmm.
if you think about on a morning when you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed, and you're just feeling miserable, and at the end of the day you say, well, that day was a doozy. Everything just went wrong.
Yep. Yep.
We're at that level. So mastering our attitude looks like, what's my thought process? And I'm going to walk you through, though this is the great takeaway. And tomorrow I'm going to share a lead checklist that will, help you. What are some of the things I need to do to power up my day, to power
Mm-hmm.
through my day, to
Mm-hmm.
power down my day in
Yeah.
terms of mastering, so in terms of mastering, for me, everybody needs to create what I call a power hour before you take the world on. Now, whether it's for a full hour, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, I just call
Mm-hmm.
it a power hour because it sounds cute and catchy, right? But in that power hour, that's when you power yourself up. That's when you get calm. That's when you get downloads and intuition, and you just settle. And within that power hour, it looks like, prayer, meditation, connecting with yourself. Now, this is an everyday habit. It's about journaling. So journaling is about, setting your intentions. So I have a business journal, which is different from all my other journals. And every day I'm setting my business intention in that particular journal.
Mm-hmm.
What's the intention I'm setting? What are the outcomes that I'm setting for the day, for the week, for the month? Right? This has to become routine. My gratitude, my gratitude practice.
Mm-hmm.
Everything shifts with gratitude. We
Yeah.
have to find the seed of good in everything.
Everything.
And yeah, and tomorrow, I'm really gonna speak about how gratitude really changed my mind. I mean, we hear the likes of Oprah talk about this all the time, and sometimes you're like, yeah, right. But it really does. And for me, that's a life strategy, right? And then finally, and there's exercise. Let me just make sure. And studying, that's that's your power hour. So studying may look like a 20-minute read or whatever you're listening. We got to anchor ourselves first. We got to get in touch with who we are before we start taking on the emails and the messages and whatnots, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
finally, for this inner side, it's also about our desire for what it is that we truly, truly want. What does that, this, do we have that burning desire for it? Because if we don't, then it's going to be easy when things happen for us to shift.
So
And
shift
it's so
and
good
walk
that
away.
I'm ending on this, because then we're going to talk about believing bigger. And it's about desire and designing what you want. Sometimes we have to, so that, this inner routine is about sometimes going slow to go fast. It's about combining, that as we started a conversation on Monday, the feminine and masculine energies. So, the masculine energies that you expounded on yesterday, we got to go and do the sales calls and the marketing and the posting and the balancing and of the checkbook and the cash, and those are masculine and we're driving those. And then we got to balance that now with intuition, just slowing down, connecting, so that then we come now with this really fabulous business. So
So Tanya, I
high
want
level,
to
yeah.
so I just wanted to summarize for me is that very often we we think that things happen to us or the day happens to us,
Mm,
and so this is now the difference between you directing and deciding your day vis-a-vis your day happening and just exploding on you and you're busy trying to catch, as opposed
mm-hmm.
to you determining that in a very intentional way that this is the day that I'm going to have, and I'm
Yeah,
calm, I'm centered, I'm ready. And so your response when something comes up is going to come from that calm, centered place.
yeah,
And I can tell you, I've had days when I got up and I ran, and I'm running all day, and I'm, you know, hurried and trying to catch all the balls. And then there are days when I sit down and I have that power hour, and I'm able to just respond to everything with ease and with grace,
grace.
because
Hashtag ease and grace.
yeah, because I would have set the intention for the day, and it's almost like you corral your day and say, okay, I'm gonna have a good day. Today is a good day.
See,
you
we
know
are
and
we're powerful co-creators.
yes,
And I'm not
yes,
sure
you
we've
are.
recognized that whether our day is going off the rails or going smoothly, we are creating that, whether it's thoughts, from our thoughts. It starts with our
Yes.
thoughts,
Yeah,
our
because our thoughts
words, the
our thoughts
actions.
determine how we respond to whatever comes at us. So
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
feeling defeated, then you're gonna respond in a defeated way.
yes,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so we're at the 15-minute mark. Let's talk about believing and dreaming bigger. Um, you know, when I think about it, some a conversation you and I had some time ago, and you asked me, John, what's your dream? And I was like, dream? I haven't done that in a while. What is that? And
Mhm.
I literally struggled to remember my dream. Life comes at us, and it's almost like, and especially as women, even more so as mothers, we take our own dreams and desires and we put it aside to deal with everything and everyone else, and to the point where sometimes we forget that dream. How can we,
Mhm.
if we're in that situation, how can we go back to dreaming and believing bigger? How do we make that transition?
Yeah. So that's excellent. It's so funny that just before this call, I had to get on a call with my coach. um, all coaches need a coach,
Yep.
and so I got on a call with my coach and I said, I am stuck. I'm literally stuck. What's going on? I had a phenomenal 2021, and I felt like once December rolled in and we started looking forward to 2022 and January rolled in, it's like, you know, and so just talking through the conversation, our recognition of obviously the what's going on, the chatter that's going on. Or you'll never have a spectacular year like the one you did. It was a fluke, it was magic, you can't repeat it. And the fears started kicking in, right?
Mm,
So working through that. So you're right, there are so many of us who have forgotten our dreams, our goals, what it is that we truly desire for one reason or the other. It's not about wrong or right. It's not about making
right.
it wrong or right, or making you wrong or right, or beating up on yourself. As you said,
Hmm.
life happens and we learn how to respond, how to react to life instead of responding, pausing to think and then take inspired action. So it's about, for me, it simply became pausing at
Mm,
this stage of my life. What would I really, really love? And so I think on Tuesday was I gave the home fund to start thinking through the different domains in your life. What would I really, really love? So that homework was now to feed today. And so it's about making. So here's the thing, Janice, we get to choose, we get to decide.
mm,
Yeah. And to
mhm.
do that exercise, whether it's in, you're locked away in the bathroom, locked away from the kids, out in nature, in a park or so. It's just about the starting point to just start to reconnect with you. What would I really, really love? Not what Janice thinks is good for me, not
Yep.
what the wife or the husband believes, I'm good at or is good for me, but me,
Yeah.
Tanya,
And
Janice,
and I
Julie,
just
what would I want?
stop you to add here, Tanya, that it might not come to you right away, but it's
Or
okay.
it probably won't.
Just keep plugging away at it, because it didn't come to me right away at all.
So this is where Tasha Chen taught me. Hi Tasha, hope you're listening. Taught me the power of journaling, not just journaling, what I'm going through or what I'm feeling, but journaling from a place of creating. And
Hmm.
so, what I would say, we do the exercise I gave on Tuesday. What would I really, really love, right? But then just bring yourself to the end of 2022. It's December 31, 2022. What would you have loved to accomplish?
Mm.
to see, vacation you'd love to have, people you'd love to meet, experiences you would have wanted, and I think sometimes we get carried away in thinking that, oh my gosh, this goal, this dream has to be so big, and then that becomes frightening. It's just
Mm-hmm.
about taking that step back and thinking, when December 31 comes and I look back at this year, what would I have loved to have happen? And when I work with my clients, as this is just the tip of the iceberg. We really go deeper into, let's really, fleshing it out. But that's a great start, because the challenge, is not that we don't know, but that fear of putting it on paper, of saying
Mm-hmm.
it out loud,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
believing that
yeah,
things are possible.
yeah.
That's the stuff. So get
Yep.
yourselves a fancy, nice, beautiful journal.
Yes, we know you love those.
Boy, I have another confession, but that's for
Oh
another
no.
live. Oh my gosh, I found a store.
Oh no.
Hmm. So, but here's the thing. And get some nice pens that, you feel really nice writing with. I got these in all colors. And just start dreaming again. Just give yourself permission. Just take it from, what would I love in the different domains of my life? What would I really love? Feel it. At the end of this year, that's the start. And then we start to create, what's that big goal? What's that big goal that we want to accomplish? Yeah.
And very often, Tanya, is that that goal sometimes is a little scary, and it's okay.
Well, if
It's
it's not
perfectly
scary,
okay.
it's not a big enough goal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a big enough goal if it's scary. But I mean, I remember when I got down to, oh my gosh, this is the dream. And I was like, whoa.
I remember that look on your face when we got there, right?
Yes, exactly, right? And then you're like, whew. For days I couldn't even look back at the paper because I was like, oh my, every time it ran across my mind, I was like, until I actually now have it up in front of me every single day, and I read it every single day, and every day I get more comfortable, more confident, and I still, one of the things that we talk about a lot is how whole, which is you get into,
Please, please,
how am I
please,
going to do it?
hold on. Please write that so that person see exactly what you said, because we know how that sounds. I said it in one of my accountability meetings this week, and everybody on the call was like, "What? What did you just say?"
It's how you go. I always talk about, you go down this rabbit hole, but this one now is a special one. You go down how hole, and because you can't answer all the questions, you get lost down there. You just get completely lost, and you forget at whatever point that what it is that you're trying to accomplish. But what I've learned is, I don't know if you've ever heard the statement that God gives you enough light for just the step that you're on. It requires faith. It requires that you take that step of faith, just the first
Yeah,
step of faith, because in taking that step of faith, the other step appears, and so it's very important not to. I'm somebody who, when you give me an idea, I want to plan it all the way to the end,
I
right?
know.
Right? But this goal is so huge that I cannot plan it all the way to the end. I have to
Yeah,
trust and believe that it's possible. And what I have to keep doing each day is taking steps of faith. So whether or not, so this thing that I'm here dreaming of, I've never done it before, but I've always wanted to do it because of the impact that I think it will have. And so I've started doing small things, like starting to follow people who are in there and in that field. I'm starting to read books, starting to listen to podcasts, starting to educate myself about these things. So it may just be small steps. Don't get
Yeah.
frightened by the fact that it's this great big hairy audacious goal. If it's not hairy and it's not audacious, it's not big enough.
You see, I think one of the things for us to remember or to think about is the purpose of a goal. You know, the
Yeah.
purpose of a goal is for us to grow, to
Right.
expand, to
Mm-hmm.
feel life, to experience life. And so Bob Proctor always teaches about, your C type goal. So your A type goal is, when you set a goal that you can do, you can
Right.
accomplish that. Before the week is out, you get bored because you already know how to do that.
Yeah.
And then
And it
there's the
doesn't
B
challenge
type
you.
goal. It doesn't challenge you. And then the B type goal is the goal that you think you can do, based on my experiences, based on my knowledge. I think I can do that. And so that may challenge you a little bit longer for, like a quarter. And then,
Right.
whoops, oh, but there's nothing in that either. And so that C type goal needs to become that thing, that burning desire, that thing that makes you feel like this is what I was purposed to do. This is what I was put on this place, on this earth to do. This is what makes my heart sing, but I have absolutely no idea how to do it.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
your C type
And
goal.
and
And
and the
then we
more you
take that and we break that down into
right.
milestone
Yeah.
goals,
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so now you're like, ooh, I gotta grow. First of all, to be able to accomplish this goal, I gotta
Mhm.
have some serious faith because I know I'm gonna need some outside help on this one, whether
Yeah.
for me it's God, so whether it's God, mother, universe, mother nature, whatever it is, you're gonna need some sort of external help, but you're also gonna grow out of your skin. But you
It's that
wake
thing
up
that
every
that
day.
pulls you. It pulls you.
Yes. Yeah,
It
yeah,
pulls
feeling
you.
inspired to do
And
that.
yeah, and every day it you look at it, and one of the things that you taught me was, just being able to write it, and write it as if it was done.
It
you
is
know
already done. We
it's
write
already
it in
done,
the
so it's
present.
I'm so happy and grateful that
Yeah,
it's done. And so you operate. So what that does is that creates a vision in your mind of yourself having accomplished this goal, and it literally pulls you towards this goal. So it's gonna be challenging, but you know what happened, if you look at all the things that you've ever accomplished in life, the ones that you remember most, the ones that mean the most to you, are always the ones that stretched you, caused you to grow, caused you to level up. So it's really important to dream, and to dream like really big. And
yeah,
if you're dreaming and you can figure out how to do it, it ain't big enough.
yeah. So I really would want to say to everyone who's listening, just pause. Let's just lean back. Let's just think about, what it is that I truly want to create in this business that I'm creating, whatever that business is. If
Mhm.
it's about entrepreneurship, what position do I want in this company?
Right.
Do I secretly want to be the CEO, but I'm afraid to
Yeah.
even write that on paper?
Yeah.
Do I
Yeah.
secretly want to know that in the next 5 years I want my business to be listed on the exchange? But
Yes. Yes.
I have no clue how to do that. That's what we're going after.
That's what
Then
we're
you
going
start to get
after.
excited. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
one of the
If your
things,
goal is if your goal really is to make um let's say $100,000 next month, you know how to do that,
yeah.
and then when next
Yeah.
month come, what? But my goal is in the next 3 years, 5 years, I'm gonna list on the exchange.
Yeah. That's pretty huge. That's pretty
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
And one of the things that you have to pay attention to is your belief system, because this is the thing now that's either going to help you or pull you down, right? Do you have limiting beliefs, or do you have beliefs that pull you in the direction of your goal? you know
yeah,
Examine how you think about stuff. So when you think about this big, hairy, audacious goal, and you think to yourself, um boy, I can't do that. And it's almost like you talk yourself out of doing it. You
Hmm.
talk yourself out of even imagining, of even dreaming,
Yeah.
and you have to pay attention to those thoughts. You will,
So
once
one
you
of
start
the
this process, you will
yeah,
realize those things that are telling you you can't, and you have to stop.
yeah,
Don't just ignore them. Stop and examine. Well, why can't I? And dig a little deeper, because then you'll understand. If you think that, boy, that's too much for me, I'm not worthy, I'm not, all of those limiting things, because sometimes they operate in your subconscious, and you don't know that they're there
hmm,
operating, and it's almost like they're keeping you a lid on you. And every time you start to dream, it says, no, 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 remember, we don't do that. Remember, we don't do that. You have to know, say, well, why don't we do that? And start to just pull it out and look at it and say, well, what makes this true? Because very often these things are established by faulty belief systems, by something happened and you interpreted it in a particular way that was not true, and
yeah,
but you made it true. And so you've been operating like that for years and not even recognizing that this is the thing that's driving your decisions, or whether or not you move forward, or even you see a new position coming up in the firm that you would love, but you've already, this thing keeps you in place from
yeah.
even shooting your shot,
Yeah,
so
and
it's
one of the
really
things that add to
important.
that, yeah, one of the things that add to that, so you mentioned going down the whole hole, is that, and I said this to someone, this was part of our discussion in our accountability group, that whilst it is also, we go on this journey of also understanding our belief system, but I also want us to be very aware that we have the power, that we can change our thought process
Yes.
in that
Yeah,
moment
we
also.
can, we
We
can.
change that thought process, and we support us moving forward with things that I'm going to be sharing tomorrow, like with affirmations. So we recognize that the paradigm, or as I love to call it, the gremlin is saying, oh, but you can't do that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we start to peel back the layers, and it starts to feel very constricted and put us in a negative place. And I literally
Right.
said to the person yesterday, sometimes it's also about just stopping, because we can choose, we have that power to change that thought process. And then we so that's the unlearning part in my
Yeah.
end. And then
Yeah.
to relearn is like really redoing, what are the affirmations that I need to be writing, to be saying, what are the
Mhm.
things that are repeated. And this is why I say, this inner work is a daily repetitive
Daily work. Yeah.
work. Yeah, there's so
Yeah.
much to unpack, but look at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good. But it's a really important conversation, Tanya, because you create with your words. Daily you create with your words. And a
Your
part of this
thoughts and your words.
yes, and a part of this unlearning and relearning is that you use words to create it, but you have to use words to create something new.
Yeah,
And so, in order to create something new, you have to find words that support you, that words that help you to grow, that words that, so the affirmations are like really, really important. One affirmation, I think I mentioned it before, is I have in front of me, is I am limitless because God is limitless, right? And it means to me that I can do anything I set my mind to. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things. And so when the gremlins start to talk, or the committee start to meet in my head and said, John, are you crazy? John, who's going to listen to you? John and John and John and John and John. We have to know, have something to shut the committee down with. So when the committee comes and is having this meeting in my head, I say, oh, I'm limitless. I'm limitless. Just remember, I'm limitless because God is limitless and I can do all things through Christ.
yeah,
And there are times when I have to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, because I'm changing the way I think. I'm changing I'm creating something new.
You're creating a new pathway to the brain. You know, it
Exactly.
said that our subconscious doesn't know what's real from what's not real. And so
Right.
whatever we're planting in there, whatever we're feeding it, that's what grows, that's what
That's
we
what
believe.
grows.
You
That's
know,
what grows.
what I'll add to what what you're saying also is one of the things that I have discovered for myself, and I shared it yesterday, is also not about having a combative discussion with the
Hmm.
gremlin. Because
Hmm.
sometimes, our paradigms may show up because they want to keep us safe. Janice, I don't think you should do that because the last time you tried so and so, you got, the last time you tried to build a business, you know,
It
it
failed.
failed and you felt really bad. So I don't think you should try. So it's trying to keep us safe. And so, my little hack has become so if you ever see me in my car or you see me in the supermarket and you see me talking to myself, this is what's going on. I treat my paradigm, I treat my little gremlin, I treat my committee like another person, like we're having a conversation. And so I will say, thank you. I say, you know what? Thank you for trying to keep me safe. But I have a coach, I have accountability partners, I'm learning a new skill set. So I'm gonna take a shot at this. But thank you. Or I may even I've one day even had a conversation to say, that sounds really interesting, but I'm gonna take a look at it at another time. So thanks for bringing that. It sounds crazy, guys. I know it does, and we did promise you some woo-woo thinking, but it works, because the most important conversation you have is the conversation you have
Conversation you
with
have with
yourself.
yourself.
So
Yeah.
make it a good conversation. Make it a
Make it
good
an
conversation,
empowering one,
an
right?
empowering conversation. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming along for the ride today, coming along with this conversation. Tomorrow, we have really lots and lots of really interesting and great tips to share with you tomorrow, because tomorrow is when we pull back the curtains and share our experiences. And we also share some tools which can help you to master the inner and outer game of entrepreneurship. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Share, tell a friend to come join us, and we'll see you then. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming. Bye.
Thanks for joining. See you all tomorrow.